welcome to V-SPann. This is the, let's see, Veterans Forum. We've been on for quite a while, and we have a great show tonight. First and foremost, we have Les, how do you pronounce that? Fortier. And his lovely wife, Lynn, without a doubt, and Peggy I've known for, quite some time. So here we are to talk about toys are what? Toys for Tots. Are you sure? That sounds like something else. But how did you guys get started? Tell me the history, Les.
A young man by the name of Ed Animal Wisniewski, is that correct?
Correct.
Served in the Marine Corps, and upon coming back to this country, wanted to do something for the children of Chicago. And since being in the Marine Corps, every armed service has its own charity.
Yeah.
Toys for Tots is the Marine Corps charity. And he decided to go to, in 1978, him and a few friends, I think 6 altogether, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to Glenville Naval Air Station. That was, in effect, the first Chicagoland motorcycle Toys for Tots parade.
Way up on the north side.
Right. None of the bikes finished, from what I understand.
Really?
They all broke down.
And the kicker was the man who started it, Ed Aminal Wisniewski, owned a motorcycle repair shop at that
time. Fantasy choppers.
So there's a lot of history involved in this thing.
Yeah. Yes.
So Lynn, tell me, what part of this history do you fall into?
Well, I came into Toys for Tots back at the kickoff party in 2004.
Wow.
Me and my girlfriend went there looking to try and get involved. And actually, that was the first night that I saw Lester, and then later had gotten the card, and that's kind of how I met him and the other people. Peggy that night was there at the front door, and yeah, got involved, and I've been involved ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Peggy, you've been the bookkeeper for what?
31 years.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. Man, what a success story. Wow.
Yeah, time flies, huh?
So
this will actually be my 32nd year.
No kidding.
Yes.
No breaks in between? I mean, it's been
1991, during the Gulf War, it was the parade amassed at the Woods on Western Avenue, but the parade did not move out of respect for what was going on in the world.
Okay, so it wasn't
still a toy
on your part, per se.
It was a toy collection, but there was no parade.
We didn't ride.
That was the only year there was not a parade.
We didn't ride. Right.
So how successful has this been?
We've had anywhere from 55,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Depending on the weather,
and
that is the difference. It can be very good and it can be very bad, because when you have the really good years for the weather, then you have a lot more people, which causes a lot more congestion, and sometimes things happen, and then that can either slow down the parade or stop the parade. And there's been tragedies before, but again, starting out in the park, everybody gets in their tiers, and it's very organized. It's just sometimes
spend all year getting prepared.
You know, you have the really cold or you have the really warm. And when it's really cold, then you usually have the weather affecting the roads and affecting people coming from further away or just bringing their bikes out because of, you know, not wanting to get hurt. So,
and if I may,
it's just being smart.
Comment on that. I would like to thank right now the Chicago Streets and Sanitation for helping us with this parade.
Oh, yeah.
Because when it snows or it's icy, or it's, you know, because it's the first Sunday of December, and it always has been. It's been on Saturday prior to that, but always the first weekend in December, right around. And they've always been out there willing to keep the streets cleared or salted or whatever.
They finished paving that one year just so that it would be done before the run.
The city of Chicago worked with us like you would not believe. They actually altered their CTA routes with us.
Really?
Which made us, they made it
totally
a lot more safe. My wife had been talking about, we've had, you know, problems happen everywhere, but let's, you know, be positive about the things that have happened.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So let me ask, was it always this way from the beginning?
No.
Well, Peggy?
That was not always that way.
Tell us a little of the history here, if you would.
Well, back then we had no support from the city at all. We did it ourselves. Every street was blocked by us. We used to do what we called leapfrogging.
I mean, somebody went out there with a car or a bike or whatever?
Car, bike, whatever you had. We had stationary blockers.
Not at the
they would cover each corner because we had no support. We had to do it.
But
we rode and we did it. Now we have the support of the police and the city.
Wow.
But for
the awareness is so much
we didn't. We had nothing except us, and we relied on our own people.
So that's a lot of patriotism that you're talking and telling me about.
A whole lot.
And we are the single most organization that contributed to the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program, I think, every year, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Because every toy collected that day goes straight to the Marine Corps.
Yep, to their drive.
Right.
Now, were they the first ones that take this name and move with it, Toys for Tots?
1946, if I'm not mistaken, was when that was...
When they started?
Yeah.
When the Marine Corps started.
Their Toys for Tots logo is the Toys for Tots with the their train.
Their charity, right.
Yeah,
So
the
where
Marine
did
Corps
it start?
train.
Here in Chicago for the Marines, or
Wherever there was a Marine.
We started here. The
We started in
motorcycle
78,
parade.
but the Marine Corps
Right.
Toys
They
for
did
Tots
it
program
everywhere.
started wherever there's a Marine.
Right. Right.
You'll see a lot of Toys for Tots parades going on in other counties
Oh,
and other
okay. All right.
places.
Right.
And they say Toys for Tots, but it's got to be Chicagoland
Land.
Toys for Tots for the one that's on Western.
Okay, so that's
the first one.
very specific.
First Sunday in December is the
Our
Chicagoland.
official title is the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade.
But we were
That's
the
us.
first to make it the way it is today.
Right.
And it's a very flattering to be imitated by a lot of other organizations, which
Yeah.
is fine.
well, hey, the
Yeah.
success for the,
Right.
it's
Exactly.
for the kids, not
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Never was.
No.
So I'm telling you, that's got to be something with other biker groups that are very, not being a biker myself, but I understand they're rather independent, to all follow something, and it shows the camaraderie
Yeah.
for
Oh,
kids.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's the
definitely.
big thing for the kids.
Come together.
And it's every club, every motorcycle club comes out that day. It's amazing.
So you
And
guys
there's
all get
never been a
together
bit of
for under
trouble.
one banner for
One.
the kids.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Now that.
And the orphanage.
Yep.
And what's kind of neat about this organization, and some of the people who could be watching this right now could attest to that, we've been around so long that it's gone full circle. People can remember us
Yeah.
going to their orphanages, giving them
Yeah.
toys.
Whoa.
A couple of years ago, I was
Yep.
on a North Side meeting, and there was a young couple there, and I always asked why they got involved, and she had told me a few years prior she was in a home for battered women with 2 kids at Christmas, and we came and gave her toys. And now she's in a position to give back,
Yep.
and she
Yeah.
did. Of course, she said the guy she was standing next to, this wasn't the guy, it was somebody else. But still.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
One of the girls that works for me under my front gate crew is was a recipient
yeah.
when she was in one of the orphanages. She now works with us.
So now, I'm going to take it for granted that you ride bikes.
Yes.
You're all,
We'd
riding.
all,
I ride with Lester, but I don't
Okay.
have my
But,
own.
I mean, you do ride
Yes.
bikes.
Yes.
Does everybody in this organization ride bikes?
No, sir. It's
Really?
nice to know that you like motorcycles. We have a handout that we have, but you don't have to have a motorcycle to be a part of this organization, okay?
Was that always the way it was, or?
As far as I was aware of, definitely. Because we've had up to 750,000 members, and if it's an average day, we're lucky to get 120 members on motorcycles the day of the parade.
120 out of, wow. So there's a lot of four-wheel vehicles that are.
Of course.
Not in the parade. They're
Even
not
on our-
allowed to ride
even
the
on
parade.
our
Bikers are in the
board.
parades, what you're telling
Right,
me.
but our
Okay.
But we
our
control
crew
them, we
is-
make it
right.
safe for them.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
We call them our stationary blockers. They're the ones that get us down Western Avenue safely.
Right.
They go out and they block all those intersections. When the parade is coming down the street, they make sure nobody crosses while we're going. Without them stationary
Oh,
blockers,
It'd be, yeah.
yeah.
I have another question. How do you collect the toys? Is there, I mean, you've been at
We
this a
have
long
drop
time.
spots.
So, I mean.
Drop
what's,
locations.
We have a website now, and
Right.
everybody that's a member of this organization goes to their places where they frequent, whether it be a restaurant, bar, or whatever, health club even.
Right.
And we give them a toy box. We write down where it's at, and people who work there or go past, they can put a toy in there that gets collected 2 weeks before Christmas, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken.
And also the day of the run, they do have a
Right.
usually big Teamsters truck
Truck,
out there.
yeah.
Okay.
That
Don't
people
mention,
can
please
come.
don't mention.
Okay, and
Yeah.
again, sorry, and that
Mention-
would be.
Well, I'm just.
Okay,
you gotta
anyway.
mention everybody. Mention one.
Sorry. But I'm sorry, I'm thinking, okay. So anyways, they come and they can drop off right off Western.
Western at Dan Ryan
and
Woods.
we have people
Trucks.
there to go ahead and
Yeah.
put them right inside the truck.
Wow.
So you don't have to go all the way to the
Yeah,
end
I was
on the
gonna
run
say, so
to
you-
drop your toy off.
You can
we
go
have
where we
walkers.
begin. Yep.
People just drive by, stop, give the toys,
Right.
and they go on their way.
Participate, yeah.
Yes.
And then they can either, watch the run or do
Right.
whatever they want. It's
Yeah.
their option.
So that's a lot of volunteer, really.
Takes a lot of volunteers.
And how are the stores, I mean, is it hard to get anything in there? I would imagine that it wouldn't be, but I mean, my gosh, that's a big draw for stores.
Well, of course, definitely. And then you get their address published on our website to let people know where it's going to be and where they can go.
Anyone can go on the website. Now our season will be starting, so when you go on the website, it'll give you where our drop locations will be this year.
And times and locations and how everybody...
Yes.
And our kickoff party and how you can become a member. And if you don't mind me, I'd like to thank every prior board member of this organization for the past 34 years for doing what they have done.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would not be sitting before this eloquent young man.
Thank you.
Talking about this organization.
And getting ready for our 34th year.
That's right.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, this is something, how would I say, without, well, the facts are they stand for themselves. When you have given toys to young people and whatnot, and then they grow up and have children and they come in.
Yes.
That's a hard statement for anybody to say that you're not successful.
Yeah.
And that you haven't really, pardon the expression, really put it on the line.
Oh, yeah.
And we had in fact, one of the speakers at our membership meeting speak of riding with her father and how that made her feel when she went back to school and the kids would all talk about it, or how she felt knowing that she was with her dad. And she came to our meeting now as a grown-up woman and spoke about this and how she talks about it at her college or whatever. And it was like, oh, wow, you know, you forget how many people really, you know, got into that or got into it because their parents were into it. And then come back to talk about it.
Aunts, uncles, kids.
Yep. My daughter will be 34 in November, and I started when she was a baby. She's grown up and married, and my grandchildren are now watching me.
Yes.
I have my grandchildren out there.
She was the youngest board member in history.
I have to ask another question, which begs the question: where's the history? Is it written down?
It's on our website.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the website also. You can read how everything started. It's all on our website.
Parade is listed as far as the weather's concerned and about approximately
and it
how
even
many
shows a picture of that aminal that Lester was talking about.
It has our whole story on the website.
Well, that's good because that's the legacy that...
Oh, yes.
My dad had set standards all over the place, so wherever you go.
Yeah.
I mean, now that, whoever thought of that one, really, that was a mark of real sharpness there. What kind of problems do you guys run into?
Besides the weather? We get a lot of attitudes from people saying, why don't you move the run to a different date?
Because it's too cold.
And I always tell them that it's Marine Corps charity, and the Marine Corps charity kicks off in December.
Yep.
So the first opportunity to have it would be that first weekend.
Yeah.
And the other thing
for Christmas.
I like to tell people is that when you see a motorcycle the first Sunday of December,
you'll know why.
We don't have to share the date with anyone.
Right.
You know that that's going to be
that's us
and where we're going.
Well, I have so much more to think about and say about, but if you don't mind, I'd like to take a little bit of a break right now. To put it bluntly, I'm overwhelmed. And so should our audience be. So let's take a little bit of a break and come back at it in a few moments.
You got it.
If you would, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, welcome back. This is Veterans Forum, a V-SPann production, and we have, needless to say, wonderful guests here. Les, I'm on the first part. I'm kind of dazzled by this whole thing. I mean, you guys started with nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, and it's not a big bad boys club or what. Because there's a lot of women out here. How did
actually our board have we have a 9-member board, and 4 of them would in fact be women.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's something to be very proud of.
I insist on maintaining a majority.
Today.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes we overrule him.
No. Hard to believe. Well, Peggy, you've been here, I don't know what, probably what kind of clothes do you wear for something like this?
Many.
A lot of them.
Many.
A lot of them.
The bigger question would be, how long does it take to go to the bathroom?
That's the bigger
so
problem.
bad.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And where?
We have porta potties out in the woods.
Well, what about all along the
run?
The route?
Yeah,
well.
They don't go till they get there.
That's right. You just hold it.
Yes.
You're so cold, you're just going to think about it later.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a motivating factor, I imagine. So, I mean, in the beginning, did you guys, I mean, bike wear in the weather, I mean, as I remember, I mean, being a older guy here, I don't remember bikers having much stuff to wear in the weather.
That's because they were young, and I was young once, as every
Well, if you were like me the one year when it was so cold, I didn't even look like myself. I looked like a man riding on the back of the bike because I was dressed in all of this thick clothing and covered up and had my glasses on. You could barely see who I was.
Really?
And oh yeah. And then when we did get to the Marine Corps at that time, you start taking the layers off, but then you're thawing out and you almost don't want to because you know you're going to have to put it all back on, and then it's 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're sweating, you know, you got all that going on, and you're looking at yourself going, oh my gosh, I look like this, you know, but anyways, you do what you do and you get through it. You get home, oh, my skin was all red, and yeah, I took the next day off work just so that I could recover because you're so cold, but yeah.
And then there's them days where we've hit 30 degrees and 40 degrees and you're, okay, I don't need that leather jacket.
It's better to have more than not enough. You could always take it off.
Always take it off.
Right,
Yes.
put it on.
Yes.
So.
That's an old military thing that I've
anybody that's worked in the cold knows it's better to have more than not enough.
Take it off, but you can't put it on.
Layer,
if you haven't got
layer,
The
layer.
warmer the weather,
Yes.
the bigger the run will
And
be.
I advise that for all the women that want to be all pretty when they come out there.
No.
They'll still be pretty.
They'll still be pretty, but you're going to be pretty cold.
Yeah, you'll be the walking
that's what
stiff,
you're going to be.
literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have to ask something else. Now, when you get all these toys and everything together, and obviously you've refined it over the years into a well-oiled machine now. It's got to be just the logistics alone has got to be phenomenal. And you keep track of all this stuff?
I keep track of our members.
Yeah, that's her job. And everything that's written, she's the secretary.
I'm the secretary. I'm the membership coordinator.
Whatever goes to the members has to go through her first before we inform them of it, because she's
We have a whole toy committee that takes care of how many toys have come in, where the toy barrels are, and there's a whole separate committee that we have our own warehouse. And they go in, they go in and separate all the toys by boys, girls, ages.
Really?
Because we do our own secret Santa, as you will, after the run.
Before my time, but they used to find out about people who needed toys at Christmas, and they would throw a couple of bags of toys on the porch and ring the doorbell.
Ring the doorbell, and we were gone.
Yeah.
Not the bag of when we were...
Right.
No, totally different. There was no fire involved.
Hot idea.
Hot idea it was.
But we've always had, we take care of as many organizations as we can, of course. We go to the orphanages and children's hospitals and such.
Yes.
But what we've been trying to do lately, again, and I'm going to talk about it now if I may, we always try to go with the individuals too. So if you know anybody who has need of
don't
toys,
keep it a secret.
It will let us know.
Yeah.
Send us a letter.
They can go on the website and it'll give them all the information.
Boy, girl,
or if you want to become a member of this organization, you'll get a number, okay, which Peggy's in charge of numbers also. I finally learned mine, by the way. And if you get a member to write the letter for you and put their number on it, then we don't investigate it. We take it upon that member to make sure he does that later. And then we just, boy or girl, a brief description as to why you don't have to have your house burnt down or anything. Just maybe you lost your job and you're laid off or
whatever. And in today's market, yeah.
You let us know, boy or girl, and age and all that kind of stuff, and we'll put together a couple of bags, usually around $50, $75 per, if I'm not mistaken. And then we will either let them know to meet us by the warehouse or make arrangements to drop it off to them.
And the families can come and meet us. Yep.
Nobody got to know nothing. It's just that if it's not supported by a member, then of course we have to investigate a little bit.
Check it out.
Right.
But that would be an encouragement for someone to become a member, so you can, in fact, help that way.
So you guys only deal in toys, nothing else?
Just toys.
I mean, no food.
We'll take money.
We take donations. We do.
Donations.
We do food drives.
Oh, yeah, but nobody
at our meetings, we've done food drives.
Food drives,
yes.
Wow.
Canned foods and that.
Right. So that's like an extension from what it originated from.
Yes.
So how did the Marines receive this in the very first? I mean, obviously, you guys have been going at it 30. They were going since '46. What was the first?
Well, I imagine the founder of this organization. He is a Marine, and he was. I'm sure he contacted the Marine Corps. We go to the 24th Battalion on Foster
Avenue in Troy.
That's our main thing.
That's who receives our toys.
Right, and they always have a Toys for Tots coordinator there who works with us during the course of the year.
Really?
They always have, at every base, they have a coordinator for that charity.
For the whole year? Bringing this, organizing
and all and as a matter of fact, we met with them, I had our first meeting with them last Thursday.
Yes.
Wow.
To reinforce the fact that, unfortunately, for people who are saying this too, everybody asks us why we don't go to the Marine Corps anymore, barracks. At one time, you'd go there, they broke off the basketball court, and you'd see the toys piled to the ceiling.
Piled up all the way in there.
Really?
Okay, and then they had the young Marines there sorting them, and they'd be, distributed most of that. Well, we can't go there anymore because basically we're at war.
Right, well, that's,
And when we went and visited there, we had to give up our licenses, we had to be looked at and such before we even got to talk to them.
Well, I have to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in this? Ballpark.
I don't know, the early 90s.
90s? You're from the beginning of this whole thing, putting it together.
1970.
2004 for me.
So you're the youngest of the lot here. So I have to ask this, and we got a few minutes left here, but what was your first recollection of this when you walk in and actually saw it for the first time? I mean, hearing it is one thing.
And I had known from other people from the run, because I'd been on the run before prior, but...
Oh, so you've done the run before.
Oh, yeah, but I had no inside info until when I did actually become a membership, because a lot of people just go on the run and they don't know that we have meetings and there is a membership, and you come out and you hear and you learn, and then you are part of so many other things that we do all year round. The run is one part of it on the first week. That is the December 1st Sunday run. That is the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade run.
So what do you do now with this? Do you have a specific function, Lynn?
Kids and Veterans
Kids
supporter. Yeah, and I mean, I will support other things that they do as far as if I can help,
wherever
if I fill envelopes, if I have to fill envelopes or
so in other words, you're running around
selling
with
product. Yeah, I try to.
Last year at the kickoff party, my wife was in charge of every returning member that had helped the prior year, we give them a little gift.
Something.
Yes.
Okay, so my wife was in charge of giving
returning members this gift.
Really?
And it was a license plate.
And veteran supporter was in charge of
membership returning.
Correct.
And then they would receive their gift for being the members that returned.
Right.
New members then join the next year, then they would get something.
And we were very accountable.
It was our appreciation to them.
And that's one thing you could say about this organization. We are very accountable because we had to make sure that they were in fact, they could have been a returning member from 3 years ago, but if they did not work or become a part of this organization the prior year, they did not qualify for that gift. And that's where Peggy comes in.
Right. That's my job.
Okay, so I have a question for all three of you. Has the luster of it worn off? The, je ne sais quoi, the surprise, the look in the kids' eyes, has any of that,
I would say no.
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 Secondhand?
I'm here 32, I'm going on 32 years and it's still...
Like yesterday?
A joy. When we get ready to start, that's when I'm ready to roll.
the blood gets pumping and
Yep.
and everything's moving along?
Yep.
Although we do need a lot more younger members if we can,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
I can
It's not a
understand
bad
that.
thing, trust me. You don't have to have a Harley Davidson. You don't have to have a, you don't care if you have a Vespa or a 10-speed. We need
You don't even have to have a motorcycle.
That's
Right.
correct.
So Les, I've talked about the two ladies because ladies are first. So Les,
They're much better looking than I also.
this is something that we were, yes.
But everybody likes his hair.
What do you do, Les?
I am this year the elected president of this organization.
Wow. So in other words, the buck stops with you.
Correct.
So when those two have a headache, you get it.
Yes.
Is that, I mean, as they say in the military, it rolls downhill?
Nah, he's my headache.
I have medicine for mine.
Right.
Yes.
So tell me, what kind of problems as president do you run into?
Well, we have many problems, and it's the biggest thing is we have a 9-member board, and they all have specific duties. Okay.
And we are
the whole
also a
trick is
501(c)(3).
Correct.
Okay.
They have to adhere to whatever's written in our bylaws as far as what their duties
Yep.
are. And my biggest problem is to get whoever this guy's duties are to do them,
And he does it, or she
not
does
to
it.
do those duties. You got to do everybody's.
Yeah, don't do anybody else's.
Well, if you
job,
can, well, if you
yes.
do yours, fine. Then you got
Okay.
time. That's fine.
Yes.
So, as a complete wrap-up here, what's your goal for next year? Do you have anything new or surprise coming?
We can't tell you.
Actually,
We'd have to kill you. Not yet. No one gets to know yet.
Peggy, you have those sparkling eyes.
It's always a surprise.
it would be
To
nice.
the
if-
members first.
It would be nice if the weather gods were nicer. To us.
Yes, this year.
Well, maybe we can
Yes.
put a word in for that. And the thrill of the kids, does that ever diminish?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
So you being the youngest, what was that first thrill with the kids? How did you feel?
Oh yeah. Well, I've always believed in helping, no matter what it is. No, you got to have the heart for that, and just to see it and be a part of this is a honor.
Well,
and a
first off, Les, I
pleasure.
want to thank
My
you personally.
pleasure.
Hey,
Thank you,
truly appreciate it.
Thank
Lynn,
you. Thank
pleasure's
you.
mine.
Yeah,
Thanks,
same
Lynn.
here.
Without a doubt.
You
And
do
thank
it.
everybody.
And ladies and gentlemen, please get a chance, give a dime, give a dollar, give $100, give a toy. First and foremost, give a smile.
Yes.
These people do it all the time. We should try to be it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay? And I'm sure the people in the audience will love it.